At the end of the day, the objective is to build the facility to serve the people of Baffin Island.
Tonight, a housing project for Inuit seeking medical care in Ottawa is back on track.
Nothing really adds up, and we've been fighting for him to be recognized because we don't believe it's an accident.
Plus, a rally in Vancouver calls for action in the cases of missing and murdered Indigenous men.
Thank you for the support, the unwavering support.
And the Vegas Golden Knights take home the Stanley Cup with the help of a Sioux Valley First Nation defenseman. Good evening, Tansei Anin. Welcome to APTN National News. I'm Daryl Stranger. Dozens rallied on the steps of the Manitoba legislature this afternoon, hoping to pressure the provincial government to move forward with a landfill search for the remains of missing women in Winnipeg. APTN's Leanne Sanders reports.
The crowd gathered in support of the families of Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris. Carrying signs and hand drums, they demanded justice for the women whose remains are believed to be in the Prairie Green landfill, victims of an alleged serial killer. This supporter says the ongoing genocide of Indigenous women has to stop.
Individual acts are genocide when they're all happening to the same group.
Weeks after a feasibility study said it was possible to search, no plans have been announced. Long Plain First Nation Chief Kyra Wilson said there are tentative plans for a meeting in July with the provincial government, but she hasn't confirmed yet. She says the issue keeps getting shuffled back and forth between the provincial and federal governments. She says the federal government has told them it wants to support them in a search, but is waiting on the province.
So for me, this is not a political issue. This is, an issue that speaks to humanity and who we are as a community, as a society. And if you're not willing to do that landfill search, and if you're not willing to do that work in your role as a leader, then somebody else needs to be sitting there.
Cambria Harris, the daughter of one of the women whose remains are believed to be in the landfill, urged those gathered to keep putting pressure on government and to keep talking about the issue of missing and murdered women.
Acknowledge what is happening and continue to talk about it with your peers at your dinner table. When you go home today, don't let this be just a one-time conversation. Make this an everyday conversation. Because if it's uncomfortable for you to speak about, could you imagine how uncomfortable it is for our Indigenous community to have to live through every single day?
Leanne Sanders, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Former actor and alleged cult leader Nathan Chasinghorse is facing a series of new charges in Alberta. Scotia Nation Police Service announced Tuesday night that arrest warrants had been issued for 9 new charges against Chasinghorse. Today, Scotia Police held a press conference to explain the new charges that includes 3 counts of sexual exploitation and 4 counts of sexual assault. Charges also include 1 count of sexual interference with a person under the age of 16 and 1 count of removal of a child from Canada under the age of 16. Scotia Police say the investigation has spanned over the course of several years, with one of the offenses dating back to 2005. Chasinghorse was banned from Scotia Nation in 2015. The Dances with Wolves actor remains in custody in the U.S., where he is facing numerous sex-related charges in Nevada. None of the charges have been tested in court. His next court date is June the 21st. More victims in Alberta are expected to come forward, says Sergeant Nancy Farmer.
What surprises people is, especially I think our victims, is they often feel like they're the only one. And when we're able to share not necessarily who, but the numbers and how many people that this has impacted, it becomes almost a little therapeutic, if you will.
The 2nd annual Walk for Missing and Murdered Men and Boys was held in Vancouver recently, and as APTN's Tina House reports, there are many families still wanting answers about what happened to their missing loved ones.
Close to 100 people gathered outside of the Vancouver police station. to raise awareness about murdered and missing men and boys, including family members, babies, and furry friends. For event organizer Curtis Ahenecue, he says the issue is personal to him, as he lost many close friends over the years.
In the last 20 years, there's been 100 men murdered, shot by police in Canada, and there's been no justice to that. But on a whole, across the nation, the stats for men is way higher than missing and murdered women. But we are here as men and supporters because of the leadership of women, the missing and murdered Indigenous woman. We are here. We're following their lead. That's why we're here, to honor our sisters too.
And with the big drum leading the marchers, they began their walk across the Cambie Street Bridge. And with each step, everyone here is remembering a lost loved one and are demanding answers about what happened to so many missing and murdered men and boys across Canada. For Carl Schooner and his family, they traveled to Vancouver from Bella Coola, BC, to raise awareness about their missing son, Carl Schooner Jr. He has been missing for over 6 months and was last seen in Williams Lake, BC. It's still an open investigation at this point, but there's a $10,000 reward for any information about his disappearance. Carl Sr. says his son got involved with a bad crowd, and all he wanted to do was come home.
And he got involved with the drugs and the people up there, and I was supposed to pick him up Friday, and then Sunday I got up there, and I tried to message him, and that's the last time we'd last spoke with him, and we've never heard from him since.
He says the feeling of guilt he has is overwhelming.
He wanted to come home so bad that I wish I went up Friday.
For Alicia Williams and her mom Eugenia, they are here to raise awareness about their brother and son, 26-year-old Charles Udi. In 2015, after a night of drinking with friends, he was found headfirst in this storm drain in East Vancouver. Police ruled it an accident after his cell phone was found in the storm drain, and believe he fell in after trying to retrieve the phone. But his family doesn't believe that explanation.
Nothing really adds up, and we've been fighting for him to be recognized, because we don't believe it's an accident like VPD always say about our Indigenous people, that even when nothing adds up, it's an accident, so he brings us here today, and we're happy that we're here for the second year and for the missing Indigenous men and boys.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Well, there is a new Stanley Cup champion. The Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Florida Panthers last night to take the series in 5 games and win the franchise's first Stanley Cup. Playing a key role on that Golden Knights winning team was defenseman Zach Whitecloud. Whitecloud hails from the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation in Manitoba. He becomes one of just a handful of Indigenous players to win the Stanley Cup. Whitecloud shared some emotional words following the victory.
Thank you for the support, the unwavering support consistently. As you know, I've gone throughout hockey in my travels, and I'm thankful for everyone at home for following along and being a part of the journey. No, just proud of my heritage, proud of my culture, and proud of where I come from.
Congratulations to Zach and everyone on that Golden Knights team. All right, we have to step away for a moment, but still ahead, a home for Inuit looking for medical care in Ottawa is one step closer to reality.
At the end of the day, the objective is to build the facility to serve the people of Baffin Island.
Welcome back to APTN National News. Plans to build a new residence for Inuit appear to be back on track in Ottawa. Called the Largabaffin Development, it proposes to house people down from Nunavut who are in Ottawa for medical appointments. As Fraser Needham reports, the Ontario Land Tribunal dismissed an appeal of the development last week.
Lawyer who represented Largabaffin at the tribunal hearings earlier this year. He says his client is happy to be moving forward.
At the end of the day, the objective is to build the facility to serve the people of Baffin Island. And we are, we're really pleased for the community that this will serve. It's an essential service.
Largabaffin says it has outgrown its current facility in the city's West End. The proposed 6-story, 220-room residence is to be built in Ottawa's Hunt Club area. A group called the Upper Hunt Club Community Association's appeal was based on concerns over traffic congestion and the size of the building. Palouin says both claims have no merit, and there should be no confusion around the impact the facility will have on the local community.
Everybody involved in the hearing knew what this was. It is in essence, a temporary housing facility for people who come to Ottawa from Baffin Island for medical treatment. It's just like a Ronald McDonald House.
He says, unfortunately, some opposition to the facility by local residents is based on fears of the unknown and racial stereotypes.
There were over 300 comments submitted in writing to city staff ahead of the city's decision. And a number of them made reference, a significant number of them made reference to unfortunate stereotypes.
Largabaffin must now submit a site plan application to the City of Ottawa. APTN News reached out to lawyers representing the Upper Hunt Club Community Association, but did not hear back by airtime. Representative Bill McCurdy told Nunavut newspaper, Nunatsiaq News, construction will begin by the end of 2024. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
In preparation for the North American Indigenous Games coming to Halifax this July, the Museum of Natural History in Halifax has a new exhibit. It consists of Migma artifacts from the Nova Scotia Museum and private collectors. Migma curator Roger Lewis took APTN on a tour.
The name of this new exhibit of Migma artifacts is Gezi de Dazigal. It means they are cherished in Migma. It is the largest collection of Migma artifacts at the Museum of Natural History to showcase Migma culture during the North American Indigenous Games. These stone tools are about 6,000 years old. Roger Lewis of the Sabaganagati First Nation is a curator of cultural heritage at the Nova Scotia Museum. He says the collection educates the public about Migma culture.
The early technology, skills, and cultural intelligences of Migma people in the past, and not only see those, this collection represents those cultural intelligence that progressed up to contemporary time. And
Lewis says the exhibit showcases Migma intelligence and resiliency.
I would challenge anybody today to try to make any one of these tools.
Some of the collections are from private donors. They loved Migma art and made donations to the museum for the public to enjoy. Lewis says sharing the collections is important to the Migma community.
Is to get this back on display, sharing some of that traditional kind of knowledge of the makers, etc., with the community. And
one notable display is this wood table. It is the only known piece of Migma furniture that survived the 1917 Halifax explosion.
I think it's relevant and important. It's the only surviving piece of furniture or art material from that otherwise destroyed community.
Another collection includes Migma wood carver Louis Jeremy. He carved household items to trade, barter, and sell.
We'd like to promote him for what he is, a prolific folk artist.
As the exhibit continues, each area is a different collection throughout time. Stone technology, basketry, wood carvings, and wood flowers.
And I think the message again is the vibrancy, the resilience, the sustainability of Mi'kmaq culture, Mi'kmaq art. It's still just as beautiful.
The exhibit ends with a piece by Jordan Bennett, a Mi'kmaq visual artist. Known for his contemporary art, Lewis says Bennett's piece is a cultural statement.
To see our young artists incorporating the cultural material of ancestors into something very new is really refreshing and exciting.
Gezi Day Daziga is on display at the museum until the end of November. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Jabuktuk, also known as Halifax.
All right, we have to pause the program one final time here. Our photo of the day and weather are next. Plus, the Indigenous Screen Summit wraps up in Banff, Alberta.
I've had 2 meetings with possible platforms that I feel like, oh, it's really possible. It looks good.
Welcome back. It's time now for our photo of the day. Toby Wilson shared this photo taken near Norway House, Manitoba. She found 3 bears sleeping in a tree. Looks like the mama bear took the lower branches, offering protection for her sleepy cubs a little higher. It's a great photo there, Toby. Thanks so much for that. You can send your photos to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. All right, now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. We begin on the East Coast, clear and 12 in St. John's and 20 degrees in Halifax, 21 in Cartwright and 8 degrees in Kuujjuaq, 19 degrees with some rain in Quebec City and much needed rain in 25 in Montreal, rain in 22 in Toronto and 18 in Sault Ste. Marie, 18 degrees and some showers in Wawa and 18 in Big Trout Lake, 23 degrees in Thompson and clear and 21 in Norway House. Sunshine at 23 in Gimli and sunshine at 28 in Winnipeg. 23 degrees in Regina and 21 in Saskatoon. 28 degrees with some showers in Buffalo Narrows and 17 in Stony Rapids. Continuing west of 14 in showers in Fort Chippewa and 20 in Peace River. Rain at 19 in Edmonton and rain at 19 in Calgary. Mix of sun and cloud at 19 in Vancouver and 20 degrees in Bella Coola. 14 in Prince Rupert and 23 in Fort Nelson. 18 degrees in Beaver Creek and 14 in Rock River. Rain and 22 in Norman Wells and 22 degrees in Trout Lake. 20 degrees in Inuvik and 17 in Colville Lake. 15 in Cambridge Bay and 5 in Whale Cove. 2 degrees in Arctic Bay and 4 in Igloolik. The North by Northeast Music Festival is underway in Toronto. The festival, which has been around since 1995, presents thousands of emerging artists, often before their big break. One of this year's performers are Cliff Cardinal and the Skylarks. Cliff Cardinal joined Dennis Ward to talk about the festival.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on, Dennis. It's good to be here.
What kind of an opportunity is it for Cliff Cardinal and the Skylarks to be playing North by Northeast?
Well, it's a prestigious one, Dennis, I'll tell you. Over 2,000 bands try to get into North by Northeast, and only about 1,900 something get in. So it's a pretty big day. Well, you know what else? You know what's a big day, though? It's got me all the way to APTN. I've been in show business a long time, and this is the first time I've ever been on APTN. The Indians in East York are going to be so proud of me.
That is a shame that this is the first time. You know, some people may be familiar with your work, obviously, as an award-winning writer and performer, but your band, you know, the Skylarks, you've dropped 2 albums in the last 3 years. Is music something that you're looking to focus more on?
It already focused on it a lot, so I'm fine with the amount that I do. But Cliff Cardinal and the Skylarks, we just dropped a new album called Suicidal Valentine that's out on Marilyn Records. And so, you know, we enjoy the breaks when they come to us. And North by Northeast is a really fun time. There's like lots going on, and Kaylee Cardinal's in town. We're going to see her. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are there other acts out there that you're excited to check out? There's a lot of Indigenous artists playing this year.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kaylee Cardinal, and I'm not going to say anyone else because I don't want people to get their feelings hurt.
Understandable. You mentioned the new album. I was listening to it this morning. It's got some great 90s punk vibes, which I definitely dig. You know, what would you like to say about your music to get some people giving you some streams?
Oh yeah, well, it's really dark lyrics on top of you know, melodic, poppy sort of rock, reggae, ska stuff. So we're not trying to write a reggae song or a punk song or a ska song. We're just trying to write a good song. And because I'm kind of, you know, I'm an Indigenous guy living in a society who tried to kill me, I've got kind of a bent perspective on it. So you might find yourself singing along and then being like, what did I just sing?
Yeah, I think people would find that out, even some of the song titles. But it's a great album, like you say. Got some ska, some punk, everything in there. Great to have you.
I didn't know you were that way, Dennis. Good to know, man. I'll know what to bring you next time I'm in town.
I like it all, and I really love the '90s punk. So you were throwing me back to Lagwagon, who I was supposed to be seeing 2 weeks ago, that didn't come. So. It was good stuff.
Oh man, Dennis, yes, let's go see a concert next time you're in town.
Let us know when you're coming. Cliff, we'll leave it there, but good luck with the show and enjoy the festival.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Indigenous people. Bye, everybody.
The 2023 Indigenous Screen Summit in Banff, Alberta is wrapping up this week. 14 Indigenous filmmakers from across the country flew in to pitch producers and broadcasters on their completed scripts. The summit provides a unique opportunity for Indigenous film and television creators to network and collaborate with each other, and to also pitch their scripts to potential financiers of their productions and to international networks and streaming services.
So I don't know what the timeline is for everyone. For me, what has happened here is really identifying potential funders. I'm going to a meeting with a funder this afternoon, a distributor this afternoon. I've had 2 meetings with possible platforms that I feel like, oh, it's really possible. It looks good.
So I'm working with Michif author Katharina Vermette and Anishinaabe filmmaker Lisa Jackson to develop the acclaimed novel by Katharina, it's called The Break, into a television series. So we had the pleasure of pitching at the Indigenous Screen Summit on Saturday, and it was an extraordinary experience, a little bit nerve-wracking, but very exciting.
All right, that is all we have for you this Wednesday, June the 14th. For more details on any of our stories from tonight, you can check out our website, aptnnews.ca. For all of us here, thank you so much for joining us. Miigwech, Kinanaskmatin, and have a wonderful night.